So I've had this battery quite a long time, about 10 years, and it's just not holding charge. It seems to hold charge for a little while and then it starts to degrade and then it really goes very quickly. So I think there'd be a use for this battery to charge it up and to maybe just hold on to it and have it as a backup. Still be useful for, 2 or 3 day cruises. And if we make it hot swappable, maybe we could, still use it. Now, the other reason why I'm getting rid of this battery, well, if I need one, is going to unfold as we slowly talk about these batteries. In the last video, I showed you the new battery I bought, and it's here. And I'm a little confused. I know that this one is a classic lithium-ion battery. This one is a lithium iron phosphate battery. So these new, some people call them ferrous phosphate, or LifePo4, you may recognise. These are slightly less energy dense than the classic lithium ion, but they bring with them a whole host of benefits over the old lithium ion batteries. For starters, they're not flammable. You can also damage these batteries and they're just not prone to blowing up or fizzling, fizzing and setting things on fire. They're also brilliant in the cold, and I can attest to that. I've got one of these in my camper van and the cold just doesn't seem to affect the battery at all, really. So that's good. There are other benefits to this battery. The other thing is that they do operate at a slightly higher voltage, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But what's important is this is 24 amps. This is 30 amps. And I was thinking, well, that's a bit odd, how much bigger this is to this. And then I realised that this is like a standard smartphone 5 volt 24 amp charger. So let's put that into smartphone speak for a minute. 24,000 milliamp hours. 24,000 milliamp hours. Why is that one bigger than this one? I don't know. It's very odd, isn't it? This one, 30,000 milliamp hours. Why is that so big compared to this? Well, the reason is that how companies rate their batteries. And actually, this has become quite a problem in the smartphone or the 5 volt, power bank market as well, because you buy this 24,000 milliamp hour power bank thinking you can charge up your phone. Let's just say you can charge your 4,000 milliamp hour battery phone 6 times. But actually, you won't get anywhere near that. And the reason for that is that the voltage is having to be converted. So actually, they rate the 24 or the milliamp hour capacity of these according to the nominal voltage. Now, a lithium ion battery's nominal voltage is about 3.8 volts. So we all know that power equals voltage times the current, or power capacity is voltage times ampage capacity. So you can see how if you increase the voltage, things will change in that equation. So here we are. So obviously took the battery out, and I've also just took a bit of the guts of the battery box out. I know I shouldn't be using this really, but here goes. Crikey. That's actually the wood that's split rather than the fiberglass. Let me put it in. Will it go in that way? No. It's just a tickle too wide, isn't it? This way. It has to go in that way. So it can either go flat that way, or the other solution is to actually put it in here and secure it. Now I like that because I think if we get some Velcro on the sides and on the bottom, that'll be good. And then we could actually get a little strap to go round and hold it in. And then we don't have to take it out, do we? Because we've got the terminals right here. So what we can do is then just connect up to this or whatever connector we need, like we did before. So this then, we'll just have to find a home somewhere here, perhaps, because we do have room. So we can find a home. For now, I'm thinking, you know what, it's probably going to be fine. You know, the only thing I would worry about is the weight of this. Don't want it to get too heavy. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we've finally got our proper battery box that's really going to be useful for us. This is actually a electronic flare. Now, I've been involved in a few debates recently over electronic flares and flares and safety equipment on board quite a lot on the Dinghy forum, should we say. It seems to me to be, as usual, there's that typical older fashioned view of sailing. Experienced guys trusting what kit they've always been used to, versus that more modern sailor who, you know, is sort of looking around and going, well, what's wrong with Gore-Tex? What's wrong with fiberglass? What's wrong with battery powered, you know? And you do get a clash. I would like to say on places like the DCA or the Drascombe Forum, it's a very friendly clash, and it does usually result in quite a mashing up of ideas, and I personally find it extremely useful to hear both sides of the argument. You get the occasional person perhaps that's quite well attached to their view, but you know, that's your job to sort of unattach yourself from that. So I got this. It's an electronic flare, and it was £80. So I got a really good offer on all of it. I got a bit of a discount because I had some discount vouchers, and I also got this was on offer at the moment. And this is the Odeo flare, and this one actually has some SOLAS. It satisfies some of the SOLAS requirements. So I forget what that actually stands for, but it's the governing laws at sea, and they are international laws. And I'm trying to see if they're on here at all. Okay, they do a few versions. Odeo do. They do this one, which is like the hand flare one, which is the nearest thing you'll get to sort of like your red and orange flares, you know, smoke flares or signal flares. They also do a smaller but much fatter one, which is designed, so it's about half the length, but about 6.5, so another good centimetre wider. And I see people wearing those here on their PFDs, and they're more aimed at canoers. This is a slightly better battery life, and I think for a dinghy sailor, this is better. I don't really want to attach the flare to me, I don't think, in a dinghy. I think it needs to be attached to the grab bag, in the grab bag, that can be easily unattached or taken quickly if the boat were to capsize. The lugger won't sink, by the way, but she certainly will capsize if you push her. The beauty of this is that, it actually comes with batteries, but these are rechargeables? Lithium, these are actually lithium batteries. God, they're so light compared to your standard ones you get, you know, your Duracell ones. But it takes 3 batteries, you bang them in, and it lasts you 8 hours on the flashing mode. I'll show you that in the next video. But I just wanted to let you know that I have bought an electronic flare. Why did I buy this? Well, I've had my eye on one of these for a long, long time. They are way better than flares, because flares last, 30 seconds, and then they're expended. So if you don't attract the attention of anyone in that time, then that's it, you know? And okay, you carry a couple of each flare. The other thing is, what happens if you're in the water? You know, can you operate that flare? Will it just get wet? Is it going to be dangerous if you're operating it and the waves are up, you know? Is it ideal? What happens if it gets wet? submersed, is that a problem? What happens if you're on land? What happens if you manage to swim to a shore, but it's nighttime, you don't know where you are? I have heard plenty, in fact, a lugger sailor that did pass away, or the two survivors were on an island all night and were very close to getting severe hypothermia. If they'd had one of these flashing all night with SOS, it would have, attracted the right people and the searching people. So I think this is a good idea. I really do. And if it lives up to its expectations, then it could be a fabulous addition to the safety kit that you carry on board. And as you can see, it's not much, is it? It's not big at all, really. That will find a spot somewhere on the boat, that will be more than able to, we will be more than able to carry it. It's very light as well. And I like the idea. You can change the batteries. You've got 16 hours of light. So, yeah, I don't know why these aren't made mandatory, really, with small dinghies or whatever. But, well, no, I'm not a believer in mandatory stuff. But I think every dinghy sailor should probably look into these. You can also get a third version, which is the same form factor as the little one, but it's just a strobe light. So I don't know how that works, but I think that one has a longer battery life and it just has like a strobing light. I wanted something red and I wanted something that was more like a flare. So yeah, in the UK, I don't think you can carry these in place of your standard flares, but you can certainly carry one as well as those flares. I think in America, they're now saying you can carry these instead of flares. They have a 3-mile range, 3 to 5 nautical mile range. So they're as good as flares. The only thing I would say is the parachute flare obviously can go up quite high. So you would see that from further, just simply due to the curvature of the earth, I guess. And the fact if it's really high, it's probably out of the way of a lot of other lights. But we'll give this a test, and see what it's like, While the mornings are still maybe a little bit dark, we could maybe try and do that. But there we go.